everybody. Here we are, September 8th, 2023, and we have with us Joe Cellozzi.
I feel great. It's all about attitude. It's all about attitude, Red, right? Get up happy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure everybody's happy today. You know, everybody's positive. Since this is my 6th week, Red, 7th week with you. Yeah.
I wasn't counting, Joe. I don't
Well,
count.
I have to. I mean, I've been counting because I go over everyone. I probably watched them 100 times. You know, sure. You know, your members, your viewers give me advice. So I listen to them, you know.
They're good people.
Oh, I love them. Shit, you know, it's hard to come into somebody's house, I call it, your house, your home, and have a stranger come in and start chattering away. You know, I expected more of a push off than I got. So they were kind enough to, you know, they're no holds. They're smart. They don't want to hear bullshit. They don't like crap. They've seen, you know, they've been through a lot with, you know, with Adam. They liked Adam. Adam was very good. They loved Adam actually. And you know, what's that? Yeah.
They miss him. They love him.
Yeah, I know. I feel like you're cheating. I'm waiting for you to cheat on me. That's what I feel like a broad. I swear, I feel like something's going on. Like, you know, any day. I'm joking. I told you I liked Adam. You know, I don't know Adam, but he's like an MC. Right? I mean, he'd be a great barker for a carnival.
Narnia, 1965. Hi, guys, from Knoxville, Tennessee, I would assume.
Knoxville. How far is that from Nashville?
I don't know, really.
Yeah, Knoxville's
quite a ways to the one side.
5 hours. It's probably 4 or 5 hours, I thought. Something like that, right? Yeah.
He said, check my mic. What's wrong with my mic? What's wrong with your sound?
I hear it, so I don't know, but that doesn't mean anything.
Okay. Now, he says it's about 150 miles away.
Okay, so it's 2 hours. 2 hours from there. I was half wrong, probably half right. But you know, we'll start the beautiful Friday on our topic, which we'll get to right away. It's just want to say I always try to say something nice before we get started. You know, trying to set the pace. I'm seeing a talk coach, so teach me how to talk and slow down. Yeah, so maybe that might help me. Yeah, no, they have you can go online and they.
You'll calm down. You'll calm down.
Well,
you're doing good today.
Well, yeah, I'm rested today. You know, nobody's chasing me now. But anyway, welcome Friday. So we're talking about that picture. Okay, that's Francis Ford Coppala, the director of The Godfather.
With your father.
Okay, with my dad. Now, we'll talk about the movie and how it got made and permissions and all that. And James Caan was owned by the boys to a point. You know what? When that was mentioned, the lady fact checked it, and they were right. So, but let's get to the picture. Okay, and you and I talked about this in private. Francis, this was 82, that picture? So,
no.
Hey, Scott. Okay.
No, it was in 72.
I'm sorry, 72. 72. I'm on the phone, dude. So I said to myself, that picture there was 1982, 10 years after The Godfather. That was about 3 years. My dad was 51, 52 in that picture. So it was at Hoagie's.
Still a very hot item.
Absolutely. So he was with Tony was there. We're visiting.
Okay, he says, Red, your audio sounds tinny.
Tinny.
Is it my headset? I don't have a headset on, but
like whistling, maybe. Yeah, maybe they're right. Like a little, like a sort of a.
Better?
Keep talking.
Does that sound better? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that sound better?
To me, it sounds the same.
Okay.
Nick, I'm on my podcast show. Excuse me, buddy, live. You want to come in? There you go. So, my son. You sound better. Say it again. So a little bit. There's a whistle in your voice? I don't think so.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
It sounds like the treble's high. Your treble, like a bit, like treble in a. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. They know you better than me, because because the way you sound to them is different than maybe the way you sound to me. But I doubt it. It should be the same.
Mm-hmm.
You got a full head of hair, Rod. I didn't know that. My God, yeah. You have a lot of hair. Jesus Christ. You got as much hair as I got. I never saw that. From the you should curl it up. I'm gonna get you that curl, make it nice. I'm joking. You look, you should grow it long like mine. I didn't realize it. It's the blonde because you're light
I
colored.
don't
Right?
like it long. I don't. It's really red.
I didn't know. Yeah, you got a lot of hair. My God.
I was out in the Gulf swimming, and that salt water does something to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like a Portuguese man of war sitting on top of your head, probably. But you know what? Yeah, you got a lot of hair. I mean, I never from the front. You don't really see it, because it's not long inside. Well, you should do something with it. Maybe dye it like me. No, joking. All right, getting back to
yes, I did test my microphone.
Is it better?
And
sounds better to me.
I don't know what the settings are, and I can't tell because I can't hear it on my end. Right here, that's a telephone. That's a Wi-Fi.
Is it better now?
I hope it is.
All right.
The show must go on.
The show must go on. So that day when he came in, Tony was in town, and he was over there, and Mike Splotro called my dad and said, this is about, let's say, a year right after helping Nikki. Right about that. Right around Nikki was probably still home, or maybe he was right around when he first, he started helping us, I should say, helping Nick. And so my dad goes there. My dad never was going to want to meet him. He didn't, he liked The Godfather, but it was interesting. He was there. And my dad couldn't understand why would he come to Chicago. Let's say he's doing that. He knew these guys. And by my first name, very nice, like they joking. Yeah, I just thought, my dad thought it was very strange. Now, Magna PI is a little different because of Larry Minetti was friends with Michael and from Chicago. He understood that. Tony and Michael was on the show a couple times. So that's but The Godfather, my dad thought very, very, and remember at that point, I think they did two, right? They did the first one and they did the second one. The third one was 90s.
That's when the second one came out. That's when they were filming the second one, I believe.
Yeah, I remember the third one was in the early 90s. That had to be, was it 79? You're right. But it came out 80 maybe, the second one? You could probably fact check it. Yeah. Well, I don't know why he was in Chicago, because I don't know if they did, we probably didn't have to pertain to the movie unless he was doing an interview with one of the radio stations or one of the news people. Maybe that's the case. They did promo. So
Francis didn't do interviews.
Well, then he was in there visiting them as a friend. He lives in, I guess, in California. He lives in New York or California? That's a good question. Coppala. I wonder if he lives in New York or California.
California.
Okay. And everybody knows who's his sister. His sister's Talia Shire.
He's got a wine
winery.
What do they call it? A vineyard. He's got a
vineyard
right.
In California. Yeah. How'd you know that?
Very good wine.
Boy, that's old. I mean, he's had that for a long time. Right.
50 years.
And I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Nicolas Cage has got part of that. His nephew.
I think know.
So, because he talks about his. Now, Talia Shire is his sister. The Rocky, Adrian, she's a Coppala. And that's why she was a Godfather 1. Because that's his sister. Right? Just like his daughter was a Godfather 3.
He also put his mother in there in the coffin.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
You want to do that scene.
You're right. He's like Martin Scorsese. He puts his mother in a lot of scenes, right? Same thing. She's funny. But anyway, so my dad, they're talking, and they're having, actually my dad had dinner with him, and he was in for 2 or 3 days, I think. Because my dad said they were going out Saturday night with the wives. Because if I had to guess, 2 times every Friday, my dad was there for dinner with the managers every Friday. So there's anywhere from 5 to 10 guys. Friday at 5 o'clock, and then let's just say 2 to 3 times a month the wives on Saturday. Not necessarily hoagies. They went out other places with my mom and no, Nicolas Cage. Scott is Francis Ford Coppala's nephew.
Sean.
not Martin Scorsese. Yeah, Nicolas Cage. No, that's you're halfway right. Nicolas Cage's uncle is Francis Ford Coppala. That's why he shortened his name from Coppola to
Right.
Cage. Makes sense. And then Talia Shire uses her married name. Shire's her married name, but it's Tyre. So he was there, and my dad said he's really nice. They talked, and he was talking about doing another movie, not Godfather 3, some other like a mob movie or something like that. And they were he was talking to Michael. My dad didn't want to stick his 2 cents into it. He just sat there. And my dad wanted to leave early, he said, because they were talking. No, no, stay. No problem. So um, he was going out Saturday with I guess they were going to dinner with the wives or I don't know, whatever. That Saturday. And my dad did not, I don't think he went with them but he said he was there for 4 or 5 hours and he drank and he stood right up. Didn't even get hammered. He just drank. And then I guess my dad, he had those tapes there. He had the VHS tapes. I showed it to you. I sent it to you. And it's they weren't beta ones. They're VH1. There was 3 of them. He gave my dad the set of 3. It looked like it came in a set. And the cover, really nice. And it said, to Nick, Francis Ford Coppala, right? And then obviously the picture of him and my dad. And that picture, believe it or not, was at Hoagie's. That was on the wall there. So he put that there. But my dad Michael mentioned to my dad or to him that my brother's an actor. Just went out to Hollywood and Tony's helping him, right? And he said that which was funny. He says, "Yeah, I talked to Tony last week, Francis Ford." So they talked, and I didn't realize Tony had a lot of connections.
Major.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in California, when I told you my brother would meet them at the place. He got an investigation on him. They came there. They went to the restaurants where my brother ate at. They asked him how's he pay. They went to his attorney.
Scott H wants to know, Joe, did the outfit ever try to extort your dad?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that, Scott. I'm glad you asked that, and I'll tell you why. Because that story, and Red will tell you the bullshit. Okay, even though it's been, he'll tell you that story. What happened was Frank Calabrese puts in his book Family Secrets. Now, my dad gets a call from the court. They're going to a trial, and the FBI agent called my dad. He said, "Nick, can you come to court and tell them how you had to pay tax, $3,000 a month or $2,000 a month?" My dad goes, "That never happened." He said, "Frank Calabrese said that you guys paid," and he goes, "First of all, I wouldn't pay. Number one. Number two, pay for what? That's complete extortion." Well, it got better. What happened was, and where they thought it was, is that M&R Auto, Matty Russo, that went underground, that went protective custody, that that chop shop, remember River Grove? Calabrese owned the place, and Matty was stealing money from them, from Calabrese. All the money coming, he was doing drugs, partying. Well, Calabrese wanted his money. He wasn't getting paid.
Frank was snorting
Right.
candies, man.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. So what they did was, and this is our fault, our used car manager, I'm not going to mention his name, which was friends with Frank. He says, "Here's what we can do to cover their loss. I'm going to overbill service cars." We sent all our used cars over there to get like radiator, tires, brakes. Okay, they overbilled it. What he did is he said if it cost $220, he made it $290. If it cost $320, he made it $390. So what happened in the course of a month? There was anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 in overbill. It was probably about $20,000 to $30,000 a month account. So we sent cars. I mean, a lot of cars there. Overbilling it, get a kickback. They said that overbill.
Calabrese was trying to give back the money that he stole from his father.
Right, but what he said, and I give him a B plus. I give Frank, and I never, I haven't talked to him yet, but I give him a B plus for that lie. And let me tell you why. It sounds great. It sounds great. He said, "Here's how Cellozzi wants to pay the checks. I'm going to overbuild their cars, and we'll get it through their way, and nobody will know." And so there was anywhere from $2,000 to probably $4,000 a month overbilled that money, but they got it. It was money it was stealing from us. It was not a tax. But remember, too, we were only there about 2 years doing business with them, and so that overbill. Because remember when they did the investigation on that M&R Auto, Red, our company was their biggest account. So they looked at the bills. They came to the dealership and they got all our invoices on all the cars they said they worked on. And when they went through the bills, and we would not know because the manager approved the bill. Okay, I'm gonna spend 300 this stock number. He would charge that bill to the car. It was phony. It was not phony. It was overbilled. It wasn't even the right bill. There was too much profit in there. Let's say. So the FBI told my dad. He goes, "Well, that was your street tax, Nick." He was number one. He said, "I did not know about that, and I fired the guy." Number one, that wasn't approved by me. I never. First of all, okay, I see what you're saying. Is it really didn't cost me? It did, but it didn't. That's a lie. He stole it. The managers got it, and Frank Calabrese, who put the deal together, right? And he goes, "I'm not going to testify." Okay, don't ask me to come there.
I know
He did not, but he was asked to go. And then in the book that he wrote, and I hate to say that, I read that Cellozzi
book is bullshit, man.
Well,
I
read
that book when it first came out. I looked at it. Zimmerman Brothers wrote it.
And I could.
Zimmerman
And
Brothers.
Red, it's funny you said that, Red.
When I read it, he said he collected from every porn shop in the city, and I said, "Whoa." I'm one that he never collected from, and I know other ones that he never collected from.
Right. And you knew that already, right? You knew that back then. Okay, well, you were right, because you're the first guy that's come out and said, oh, I heard people say, well, Cellozzi would pay tax. Anybody? Why we, first of all, let's just say they wanted it. Too, but they would never pay.
Kurt Calabrese,
yeah.
He says, my brother just wants to be noticed so much, he'll say anything.
Well,
he's lied so much, it's pathetic. He's told people things, tales and stories. I listened to him on Valuetainment.
Yeah, I saw that. But you know what aggravates me is that guy asked a good question, because the average person that read that book, it says Google Cellozzi Family Secrets. It says in there that we're paying, and that's not true. It's not true. Okay, there's smoke and mirrors like the way it looks. Wait a minute, no, but that's not.
Tim, we're talking about Junior. Frank Calabrese Jr.
Yeah. It's a lie. So, we never.
Scott's got right up here. Kurt Calabrese said his brother's full of shit.
Yeah. I'm surprised, because let me tell you what, I thought Frank Calabrese Jr. was my friend. The guy worked for me, okay, in trucks. So, no, we never paid. My dad never paid. First of all, my dad would never pay, number one. And let's say he had to pay. And knowing my dad, if he had to pay, he would go to somebody.
They never be able to put the muscle on him.
They wouldn't even ask my dad. Yeah, what are you gonna ask my dad? You got paid, Nick? He said, "Get off my property." Nobody's gonna screw with him, you know. And so, in a way, it's bullshit, because it's in the book, okay?
Now,
and
if he wanted to, your dad could have gone to somebody for help if he really wanted to.
Well, right, of course, but he didn't. He didn't even know about it, Red. Never knew about it till they called him. They knew the guy was overbilling us. They said it was for we're paying protection money. And the FBI never asked my dad. They never came and asked about it. All they did is, would you testify that? So they thought, oh, Cellozzi was paying. That was already in his affidavit. But when they needed my dad to go to court to verify, he went, you're out of your mind. It didn't happen. And that's a shame. You know, the only thing I liked about Frank Calabrese, and the only thing I liked about him and the other Ronnie Bell, the kids, because that day at the dealership, and this is right up the alley, you could understand this. I was complaining about that girl I was seeing at work. This is true. And a guy was hitting on her and bad-mouthing me. I never met them. Woody dating that Cellozzi's son, making up crazy stories. I'm complaining at work. Frank Calabrese, Frank Imperato, Peaches, that's what you call it, Chinatown. That's Lafayette's son-in-law, Ronnie Bell. They went to the guy's work. I didn't want them to go. We're going there. The four of them went to work. The guy was there. My girl's sitting there working. They walk in, ask for the owner. They walked in his office. They closed his office door, and they put him against the wall. They didn't hit him, but they told him, stop talking about somebody. Who am I talking about? Stop talking. And they left. That Frank orchestrated that. So I thought, okay, that was really nice. I didn't want to do it. He didn't mention my name, but the guy probably figured it was me. So I thought, okay, but he's my friend. He came and saw me do Elvis on a snowy night up south. Him, his brother, there was 10 of them. Okay, maybe it was half full when I did. So I thought, okay, the guy comes, sees me do Elvis. We're sending cars to his family shop, M&R Auto. I knew the Calabrese owned it. And M&R was just the front. That was his. I knew that already. He was a body shop too. I already knew all that, and they did good work. Did I know they were overbilling it? No. Did anybody ever ask me? No. When it came out of street tax, I was floored. When they called my dad to testify in court, floored. How could they believe that?
Invest in yourself in a lifetime of mafia tales. Hey, Brad, I hope you've been well. Yes, I've been well, Adrian. I believe it's you, Adrian.
Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, that's a good side and a bad side of Rob. But there's, like you talked about, Red, 90% of the stuff is lies. So even a book, they believe what's printed at one time before all this misinformation and social media. And I'm probably to blame. I believed stuff that was written in printed papers for the most part. In the 70s and 80s, I sort of believed it. I didn't question it because don't those people that print stuff like that are supposed to verify stuff? They're not supposed to be one way or the other.
I didn't print anything that wasn't true.
But when you saw the article about me, they didn't say the truth. They said drug. The guy they put a crime together. Came there.
I never wrote about you.
No, I'm talking about his book. I'm talking about the FBI when they even lie when they print stuff. When they print stuff in the paper, when they indict you, some of that stuff's a lie. When they alleged, that's not right.
It's lies mixed with the truth. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It has been for me. I've always said you can't really understand what it's like to be, what the news is like until they write about you.
Yeah,
Adrian,
for sure.
Adrian, it is you, and it's good to see you, guy. I haven't seen you in a long time. I was on Adrian's show some time ago. Invest in yourself.
Oh, he's got a show? Like a motivator? Invest in yourself. Sounds like a guy that's
he's got a show.
That's great. That's great.
I believe Adrian he's from somewhere in the upper Midwest. I forgot your town, Adrian, but aren't you from not Oklahoma, Nebraska or somewhere up west?
Yeah, you got diversion on here. You have people all over the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would never thought that about this show. That the extremes. Everybody's interested in the mafia stuff. That's common. But you got, like I always talk about. You laugh, but it's a cult. It's almost like a religion with you. You're like their head little. I don't know. I never seen it before.
Jim Magnifici says the undercover auto repair shop cooperation was Matthew Russo. And
that's it, Matt Russo. That's right.
Sums of money from Calabrese Sr. He didn't borrow the money. Calabrese Jr. borrowed the money.
That's right. Yeah, that was his partner in the shop. It's funny you said that. Frank was partners with Matty Russo in that shop.
Everybody's got a partner.
Right. That's right. So it almost looks like that. But they were fucking his dad, Senior, and so they had to justify stuff. But it's just that's a little weird that they would con the guy that was my manager was Italian. He wanted to be a wannabe wise guy. He wanted to be like, oh, look at me. So he'd hang with him, and how he made that whole thing up. Let me overbill you. We'll look like we'll say it's tax from Cellozzi. Like probably what he did was to represent himself. He's muscling us. The guy, they probably kicked him back some of that money for collecting it. Most likely that happened, right? That probably happened. So you do what? 5 months in a row of overbilling. He probably gave cash. They overbilled it. He got the cash and paid somebody. Looks like it's a tax thing, but nobody knew about it.
Well, that's what he went to prison for in Milan, Michigan. Was income tax.
Yeah, well, Matty Russo, they took him out. They took his wife out, his kids from school. The FBI came there, put him in protective custody. Yeah, he was gone one day. I hung with him because I don't know if you know this, Red. He managed Rick Cicito, the Elvis impersonator. Matt Russo he was friends with Rick for years. He was managing him. I was friends with Rick since 1979. I helped him too with shows, but this was in the 90s, right? And he didn't even tell Rick goodbye. I mean, he was an Elvis fanatic. He just left Rick and everybody dry. Took off. He was gone. Well, obviously, we went into, and then obviously he told them that too. I'm sure Matty Russo told them that overbilling was street tax. And it bothers me.
Scott, according to his brother, Kirk Calabrese, it was well over 2 million that he stole. In the book, he talked about maybe
500,
500,000,
500,000,
700,000, but
500.
Kurt said there was over 2 million there, and he took it. It was being stored in the garage.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what
I
Kurt
heard,
said.
here's what I heard back then. Okay. I heard through Matty Russo because Matty and I, remember, that was our account, right? So here's me, Mr. Good Guy. Hey, look at the business I'm giving you, right? Checking the cars out. Normal thing to believe, right? And behind my back, he's stealing with the manager. That's not right. The two-faced fuck, right? And stealing from me, right? He's put his arm around me and then overbilling. How he portrayed it to Calabrese, and I know exactly what he did to Frank Cassini. I know exactly how they did it. Hey, listen, we got Cellozzi on the arm, and they did it themselves. And here's how we're getting you paid after we stole money from the dad, right? So that's in his way. Maybe he got some of that washed off. I got a good account, whatever how he portrayed it. But supposedly he was going through $500 to $1,000 a day.
Wow.
With everything. Yep, that's it. Wonder why he bought those Elvis tickets of mine. It was my own money. They weren't cheap. It was a dinner and everything. Like it was a New Year's Eve thing, right? And he bought them. No, I want to pay for them.
Let's get back to Francis here.
Okay. So Francis Ford Coppala was telling my dad, my dad said, my son's Italian. Maybe you can put him as an extra in one of the next movies, like even sitting down somewhere in the crowd, like my dad was trying to be funny. Like you can put him by a window, like he has no words, He said, Nick, if I do a movie, no problem. He said, there's always room for extras or words, over 5 words. I think you have to have you'll get a number, the IMD number, IMB number.
You're going to get a guild card.
Yeah.
Guild card.
Yeah. Well, I'm in that, I'm in that. It shows me, if you run my name, I'm in it. It shows me with the Elvis movie because I had a line in there, right? I had a line. It's, hey, let's go. We got a bachelor party to do. And then I sang that song. But, Francis Ford Coppala. So he went there. My dad told me 2 other times he was there within a year, visiting with them, talking. And my dad was really surprised on why he came to see those guys. I mean, Michael's is a restaurant owner, Michael Spatro. Okay, so my dad didn't understand. He's not in the movie business, like producing or nothing, right? He never, And my dad was sort of shocked, but he said he was very nice, very quiet. He talked softly. My dad could hardly understand him. He just talked soft, just about everything. And they made special food for him there. They cooked from hoagies. And he had like his plate that he likes. And like my dad has a chicken Cellozzi, skinless chicken, sauteed garlic, sliced potatoes. And that was, and then that same week you saw pictures. Larry Minetti was there all the time. But Larry Minetti's from Chicago. So he was always hanging around with Michael. And so that's actually look together. They look like each other a little bit. Michael and Larry Minetti, sort of.
They're both short. They're both.
That's right. Yeah. I still haven't got
curly hair.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten over to when Michael bagged me at my bar. Told the old man about my endeavors. That wasn't right either. So it just goes to show you. But Francis Ford Coppala, at that point, I did not know. Well, Nicolas Cage wasn't around at that point, but I didn't know at that point that Talia Shire was the brother sister. And you mentioned about James Caan. Why did they have to get permission from James Caan on the part? They told Francis Ford Coppala to give James Caan that part, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the mob guy in New York. I never knew that, and she verified it. That the famous reporter in New York, the blonde from Fox, she's got a big podcast. She fact checked it, and it was true. If you Google James Caan, New York mob, Godfather, it tells you what they told him. I never knew. James Caan's half Jewish, half Italian, right?
I think he's all Jewish.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
There's no Italian in him.
You're right. I think you're right. And I remember he had a drug problem too, James Caan, big time.
Which one didn't? You go to Hollywood, you get a drug problem.
Yeah, for sure. That was back in the day when it was wide open. Everybody, and that's.
And what do they call it today? If it isn't wide open, it's a mess out there.
Yeah. Well, they had them all on pills, diet pills, all those, But The Godfather, that took a while for it to produce. They almost thought it wasn't going to happen. You know that, right?
But they did it in record budget time. They were 1 month early.
Yeah. Once they decided to do it, right? But the what's it called? When you pre-production, putting it together, it took a while. Yeah. Yeah,
And
big money.
great
And
editing. There was great editing done on that. They
that's
actually
right.
did their editing while they were actually doing the movie.
Yeah. It was long. It was long. It was a long movie. It was supposed to be like 4 hours at one time, so they cut it down.
There was an intermission. I went to see it
That's right.
at the RKO Theater downtown.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went to see the
And,
RKO Oriental when it came out in 1972, I believe. I went to
right,
see
right, right,
and there was a long intermission. They had an intermission in between. In those days, you could go to the lobby and smoke a cigarette or whatever.
right.
And it was different. It was very different. Now
People
I look
forget.
at it on videotape and it's different. I mean, they cut things and they change words and everything else.
Yeah, what
They
was
even
that? That's
made
the first
family
movie.
friendly.
Wait, that was the first movie that intermission, right? That's right. They had that intermission. I never
No,
saw that
not the
before.
first. Not the first. The first one was the Ten Commandments.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Wow, good memory.
No, before that, Gone with the Wind.
No
Gone with
way.
the Wind. That had a commercial, 1939.
Yeah, then the Ten Commandments with John Derrick played Joshua. You know,
Right.
the one guy I met.
Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston.
Yeah, played Moses. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I did say to him, he did a good job. Yeah, my mother said that John Derrick back then was a heartthrob, good looking guy in the 40s, 50s, handsome dude. Back then.
Who do you want to put on the stage? You want to put somebody on there that people are going to like. They're going to look at them
True,
and say,
true.
"This is a good person." Same thing with
True.
gals that go on female stars. You want them. You want people up there that are very good looking, or they have a personality that's really special.
Well, that's true. And back in your day, the only women that made it were the good looking ones that had a voice. But then,
Got it.
but then it changed a little bit. Then you had the real. You notice that last 20 years, social media, you could be 400 pounds and be a star. Okay, I don't know how long, but you could make it.
I forget her name, but Edith Bunker, Charlie Bunker's wife. That whole family didn't look good.
No,
Carl
that's
Reiner,
right.
none of them look good.
No, they were the money people though. They were the producers. Reiner
Crowd
he
has
was big.
they had here, and the crowd is very seldom wrong. He said the Battle of the Bulge, the Sound of Music, Sand Pebbles, Flicks also had intermissions. Yeah, they did. They were long.
Now, when you say long, what was the movie? 3.5 hours total,
Yeah, at least.
something like that. Okay, so
Nobody wanted to sit more than an
hey,
hour.
Chris. Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, yeah. Well, you lose people's attention span. I think. I
Midwest
stood
Lee
next to James Caan.
and Belushi having a break filming Thief in Chicago. That was a good
Or,
movie.
or Blues Brothers. He was a Blues Brothers. Oh, wait a
No,
minute.
it was Thief.
Belushi was in The Thief?
No, he was hanging out there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because Jim Belushi's from Wheaton. When he did the Blues Brothers, he came out to visit his Albanian cousins at 1 o'clock in the morning in his limousine, wired up. He was standing there for 4 hours talking to his cousin outside limousine, outside, just in the front of the restaurant.
Down the street from me, he had the Blues Brothers bar, and it got busted. I don't know, for drugs or something like that.
Yeah.
And his brother Jim used to come over by me, and they say, "Can we rent your bar for the night? We want to have a party." And I said, "You rent it for a night, you better pay me $1 million, because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to have a license tomorrow.
Wow.
You're going to get me busted. You already lost
Yeah.
your license."
Yeah. And back then, when Godfather was around, there was only so many producing, like the big studios. You didn't have all the independent.
Jim Belushi was in Thief.
Oh, he was.
Jim, not John.
Jim. Oh, no, I know. Oh, I know Jim, the brother.
Yeah.
And he's also.
Fireman or the electronics man when he was.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, "You got the codes? You got the codes?" Yeah, I got it. He always played with the.
Yeah, and he was in about last night. About last night too. Back then, that one movie. So yeah, he had a couple after his brother died, and then he was that series on TV for 5 years, the TV series, and then he fell apart. Now he's got a cooking thing right now, and he owns a marijuana plant. He owns a farm. Yeah, he's on one of the cable stations with the guy with the blonde hair with the blonde goatee, right? And it's
Right.
cooking. And the guy Chris Caracas was my old neighbor. It's him, the blonde hair guy, and Belushi. The three of them are on a show.
The crowd says his character was a friend of getting. Well, he got acid dipped. Jim Belushi. They put him in the tank of acid over at Rocket Used Cars
Really, in the
in the
movie.
movie.
Wow. I was reading about that movie with Al Pacino was in about that time when he plays the gay guy that he goes into. Was it Carlito's Way?
Dog Day Afternoon.
No, that was his buddy played the gay guy. He didn't know he was gay. The guy who played Fredo in The Godfather.
Yeah.
The guy he died of brain cancer. He was also in Dog Day Afternoon. He played his partner, the bank robber in Dog Day Afternoon. I forgot the guy's name. Italian guy. He played Fredo in The Godfather.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, same character. Well, the movie that Al Pacino, he got a lot of. He had to go into a gay area and portray himself as a gay man. It was we played a detective.
He
Was
did
it?
a movie that took a real flop. It was called Cruising.
That's it. That's it. But they show that he's in there. There's some scenes in there that he's actually romping on a guy. I mean, it's acting, but the way it looks. I mean, but like
that film was a disaster for his career, man.
it took him years to recover. It's true. You're right about that, because that role was just so out there for him. It knocked people off, right? He had some good. He had Godfather. He had Dog Day Afternoon.
I thought it was. When I watched it, I looked at it and said, "This is not,
Al Pacino.
No, not at all."
Well, what was the whole movie about? He started liking it. What he was doing. You felt like
he was a cop, and
he went undercover.
He was trying to solve some gay murders, so they thought they put a gay man on the inside.
That's right.
So he pretended he was a leather man, a gay man.
That's right. But what happened during it? It started almost like he felt like maybe he liked it.
He thought he was slipping.
That's right. But that's what you wanted to believe in the movie, right? That's the way they wanted you to think as the viewer. That, oh my God. And that's because even he started questioning himself, right? Because he got pulled into that world. That's what I thought.
He's a good actor. He's a very good actor.
Yeah, very good. My brother was on Godfather 3. Actually, when Joe Montana played Joey Soso, right? And my brother was there on the set. And because of Joe Montana, he asked him to come in. And they call L, Little L. Little L. That was his nickname. His house. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, my brother calls me Fredo. He's on the black sheep. He's on the black sheep of the family. I don't think it's, he's never called me Joe, ever. It's since the 70s. It's always Fredo. Always. He thinks it's funny. He just thinks it's funny. His name is Julian from American Gigolo. The guy that Richard Gere played. Julian, that's his name. I don't call him Nick. I call him Julian. So that's his nickname since, yeah. Can you believe that? And that part, the thing about that, that was John Travolta. John Travolta cut a 3-picture deal, Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Urban Cowboy, with 4 pictures. He was supposed to do American Gigolo, and that lady that he was dating was 47 years old, died of breast cancer, and he couldn't do it. Richard Gere got the part then at the end. He wasn't supposed to be in there. So because of him not making that movie, he became famous, Richard Gere. So it's all because of that.
The first thing I ever noticed him in was Gigolo. American Gigolo, was it?
Yeah.
American Gigolo?
Julian. Yeah. He says, I'll do kink, I'll do fag. Remember, I'll do 30-40. Remember, Leon? 50-60. Remember when he wanted to get help from his pimp, from the guy that was, yeah. And he says, I'll do anything.
The girl, he worked for the lady, and she said, no, you're not available for me. You stood one of my clients up. So
okay, you're right. You're right.
He had no place to go, so he goes to the
black Leon.
Black pimp, and he's only got gay gates for him.
There you go. Remember, he says, I'll do 40-60, 60-30. Remember, I'll do fag, I'll do kink, I'll do all that. Remember, he was desperate. I thought he did a great job acting. But Francis Ford Coppala back then, he was like, my dad was really like, almost like they were like best friends. And I asked you a million times, those guys, they always had people in the movie business. Always had Michael, Splatro, Tony. Always. He got on the phone. He would call, take care of my buddy, do this. put him in there, argue with him, and he liked my brother because he was like, and that's my brother's doing the movie on it. They became like a big brother to him. So, and he liked Nick. Hey, listen, I I really didn't know him. I came out to see Tony there. I walked from the MGM to his restaurant, right? And I walked there and I sat down. I ordered a sandwich. I paid for it. He comes pulling up 7 minutes later, and he had the stitches over or something to his heart, and he was smoking. And he said, "Your buddy," he said, "everybody go sit over there." Not being mean. And we talked for a half hour. And I'm taking her brother. We're bullshitting. And I thought they picked up my room. I left the hotel and didn't pay. And my dad called. They got a call the next day. Sullivan called him from the MGM. He says, "Nick, your son owes $450." He goes, "What?" He walked out on his check, his room. He goes, "Why?" He goes, "So, he comes to me. He says, 'Yeah, give me pay that room.'" Like, "What room?" He goes, "That wasn't comped." I go, "But," he goes, "You're not me." He said, "First of all, you walked out there. They called me. They're going to come." I go, "It's embarrassing. What made you think that you could just walk out?" And I go, "Well, I assumed, no, 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 it doesn't work that way." I go, "I had to pay for my own Rodney Dangerfield. Tony did get me Rodney Dangerfield seats. He said, they'll be waiting for you. I paid for them, but they were good seats. I didn't expect anything free from him, so I'm not looking to mooch off him. Hey, I bought this diamond from him, and I swear to God, I thought I got a good deal. He came to Hoagie's. Right at that time, I was engaged. It was love. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money. And I said, my max was not the ring, a diamond. I didn't care about I'll put it in a setting. And at that time, maybe $1,000, $1,200, $1,300. I didn't want to go crazy.
Where'd you have your diamonds set?
Alan Rocca.
I used to go to 5 South Wabash.
Yeah, well, you went where the people went. That's the high class.
Oh,
Yeah. I went to a guy that steals your diamonds when you bring it to get adjusted. My mother used to go back there and watch him do it. Now he would never do it to my mother, but yeah, he was not the best. So he says, here's a diamond for you. Now I thought it'd been a good deal. He charged me $2,000 for this diamond. Now he said yeah. He spread my cheeks, and it was in the back part of the restaurant. And here's me, and he opened this thing up, and there's diamonds. He goes, now Michael, I don't know if you knew this, was a diamond expert. Michael knew his diamonds. I never knew that about him.
He used to carry his own lobe.
You're right. You're 100% right. It's funny you said that. It's true.
He pulled it out and put it in his eye.
It's great. It's funny you said that. You know why? He did that with me. Because let me show you something. He pulled it out. The same. It's funny you said that. It's exactly what he did to me. My God, I'm having flashbacks. And he goes, now it's loud in the kitchen. Tony's standing next to me, and he's expecting me to pay. I can see Tony's eyes. Like, you wasted my time, Mike. Almost, I felt like, not that I imagine, but I felt like, I thought you had this sold already. Like, in a way, I'm a salesman. I know. So I said, no, he goes, let me just show you. I questioned it. Not the quality of it, just that I don't know if I want to spend $2,000. Then in my mind, it's worth $8,000. I'm thinking, right? So he shows me. Now, there, I'm fucked, right? I got to buy this.
You know what he showed me one time?
What?
It's got nothing to do with anything.
QZ?
Tony, when he's at my house,
yeah,
I had a little pinky ring I used to wear with 7 diamonds on it.
Yeah.
And he said, let me show you something. And he took a tissue, like a Kleenex.
Yeah.
And he wetted it in his drink, scotch. And
he cleaned it.
Yeah. Well, no, he put it over the diamond, and you could see the black spots. And he said, I can't say the word on YouTube, but he said those are blacks,
Yeah. I know.
So he says that's what those are. That's how you can tell whether you got a good diamond or not.
Well, they didn't go that extent.
He loved diamonds.
They didn't go that extent. But I can tell you this.
Bobby Delina, is Bobby still around, Joe? Delina?
Oh, Bobby Danella. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you said that. He knows, Bobby. Bobby Danella went to Edelson. First, he went to Chrysler with my brother Chris up north, Cellozzi Chrysler. And then he went to Edelson Cadillac. And he was there for 5 years. And now he's at Hyundai for 12, 11 years, killing it. He's the number one salesman. Steve knows. Still there. Is that Steve Lavelle?
Yes.
Steve worked for me, right? I think, ask him if he worked for me.
Yeah.
Steve, did you work for me? I think there's 2 Lavelles. blonde hair guy. He talked like this. Yeah, I think that's the guy. I saw Lavelle. There's a Steve Lavelle that worked for us, and that's why he's asking about Bobby, because I think he worked in used cars with Bobby at Cellozzi Chevy, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I buy the ring. I buy the diamond. Now I get done. I give him the cash, 2,000, not even $100 less. I just saw like he had some other ones. He goes, I got some cheaper ones, and I looked at it was no deal. Trust me, it was no deal. I'm not a diamond expert. I got taken care of, but it was no deal. I thought I was going to get $10,000 ring, diamond. No, I bring it to my mother. My mother's a specialist in diamonds. She knows.
You're right about Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Yes.
Okay, Steve. All right, Steve. No, how you doing, Steve? Remember me? I mean, he knows, and he knows which one I'm talking about. Used cars. He knows what manager overbilled. He's not going to say anything. He mentioned the name, but he knows exactly what I'm saying. So by what he just said now, but Steve, how you doing? Steve was a great salesman too, and I think he was with his brother. He was always top 4 or 5. Yeah, and he was there for probably 5 or 6 years, 7 years. I left there and went to Cadillac in '90. I became the GM, and then I was there for 8 months, and I went to used cars because I fired the guy, and then I went to the Cadillac store when we moved it to Hodgkins. I don't know if Steve went with me to Cadillac, but anyways, so I bring the diamond to my mother, right? And she goes, "Where'd you get this?" I told you not to get those. I go, "Oh." She takes her thing out.
Hey,
Friday
Dad,
night.
how you doing? Friday night, baby.
Yeah,
How's it going, fellas?
I used to love Friday nights. Now I got with Red, I'm depressed. By the time I've done 2 shows by Friday,
This was your idea to do a Friday.
No, I love Fridays. Don't get me wrong. I'm just being funny.
Okay.
No, this is emotionally since I started 7 weeks. It's a lot.
Cubes, man. You're always
Listen to me. I love you. You know that. Listen, I'm the first to defend you. I've learned a lot from you. You have a certain way that you talk, which is very professional. You know how to keep it right there and get your point across. That's years of doing this. So you learn your craft. Well, you stay true to yourself. One, so there's not much you can make mistake.
That got me in a lot of trouble on Facebook. You know that article I put up about?
Yeah, I read those.
About
yeah.
What's that guy?
Kirchman or not Kirk? What's his name? The one you sent me.
Said it was about. I put up an article about our President Obama on Facebook.
Oh, about their lover coming out.
Somebody said to me, they made a comment below it. I immediately unfriended him. They said, you've lost all credibility, you asshole.
Listen, I watched 2 of the biggest podcast shows that are on in the last 2 days about that article.
You know who did that last night? Was Valuetainment, Patrick David.
There you go. I was going to say, I don't want to say his name.
He said he believes 30% of it. He
That's
doesn't
right.
believe the whole thing, but he believes 30%.
Well, when Obama wrote that letter to his girlfriend stating that he had fantasies about that, all right, that's his handwriting.
That's one thing. This guy that actually wrote the book and actually gets on these shows with
Steve.
He got
his name is
he was on with, wasn't he on with Tucker?
Yes, that's what prompted this whole thing.
Yeah.
An hour with Tucker from in Chicago when the guy came with Chicago, brings him to a gay place. Obama's there, and they get in a limousine. He pulls out a crack pipe, and then the guy's snorting. I don't know about all that. It's pretty.
No, I believe every bit of it. I really do. And the reason I believe it was when you go on the internet, you look, you're not going to find anything that wasn't written by Obama's staff. Everything was written by him. There's no knowledge that comes from an outside source. And I was always looking at one time.
Well, and what they say.
Good to see you. Good to see you too.
Kissy cat. But why did they mentioned that he calls Michelle Obama Mike?
I don't know. That's something else. It's another thing. But
he keeps slipping. He keeps slipping, calls her Mike. That's why they think,
is
okay.
It true? Is it not true? And like Patrick said, if it is true, if it is, nobody knows it is or isn't. But if it is true, why doesn't the Democratic Party that's so liberal on LBGT actually come out and admit it and say, yeah, we had the first black gay president? Why don't they do it?
Well, he's very. If you look at his personality, he's very sensitive looking. he's very kind. He has a way about him that's very feminine, but that doesn't mean he's gay. He
No,
does. No,
that
I
has
mean
nothing to do with his sexual preference.
that's true. There's a
They
big
didn't
guy
say he
that,
was gay. They said he was bisexual. They didn't say he was gay.
but people say that once you have that, once you're a cock. Can I say that? Can I say that, Roots? I was gonna say once you. I
Go
don't
ahead.
want to say it on here. Once
Go
you
ahead.
suck dick once, once you suck a dick once, you're basically, you know, gay. I guess. I
I
mean,
don't know.
Joe and
That's
Necker
up to
told
each individual to have an opinion.
Joe and Necker told me at his place over the years. He said you would be very surprised at the lawyers and judges and doctors that are married that come into my place looking for a guy. He said, I came to tell you, right?
I gotta tell
So
you, at the porn shop, you'd be surprised the celebrities that came through, and people on different shows have been asking me for years. Can you name them? No, I'm not going to
yeah.
name them.
So you know. And my
I
brother
used to
said
see them
how
go through. You just don't look. You turn your head the other way. That's all.
and my brother said Hollywood, all those guys that made it in the 40s and 50s, a lot of them had to take care of the producer. They were gay. Not to say they were gay, they had to do
There
it.
was a big show about that with Jimmy Dean, James Dean.
Well, you know the story. He was
It goes
bisexual,
all the
right?
way back into the 50s, man. Probably goes into the 40s. Who knows?
Yeah, it's no different than a girl. A producer like Harvey telling her you got to do this to get the part.
It
Those
was like,
producers,
you go with this one because you're a male. You go with this one because you're a female.
right? But guess what? If those gay producers back then, if they wanted that guy, they didn't care if he was gay, bi, or whatever. That was
No.
the deal. And I guess in Hollywood, you did it. If you want to be a movie star back then, and a lot were bisexual. You know that. Obviously Rock Hudson was not bi; he was full.
No, he was gay. He
Yeah, he
was
was full.
definitely.
He was
He
full.
used to go to
Yeah,
bathhouses.
yeah. I told you. He had a party after McMillan wife, and so and so was there. I had a little party in one of the series, and went to the house, and he came out in women's clothes. One came out in women's clothes.
Christopher says, "I'll make you famous."
Well, sure, sure. What do you, Red? Here's the question: what do you do? You're a young guy,
You're
want to be a
100%
movie star.
heterosexual crowd finding love in another man's hairy ass.
When I look in the mirror,
I'll never understand. You're right.
when I look in the mirror naked, I get nervous. I can't stand looking at myself naked, let alone another man. I get nervous. But let's just talk facts. If you're a young guy going to Hollywood and your family, and it's rough making it, and you got a chance of being a second or third big role of this movie that's all everywhere with a big star, and that producer wants to talk to you before, and says, hey, listen, this role's ready for you. I got 2 other movies for you, but here's the deal. Now, at that point, you're either going to make a decision.
They become a horse. That's all.
Well, at that point, you're going to get on your knees and you're going to start. And then he says to you, I'm not going to tell nobody. We're going to keep this quiet, but I will, you take care of me. I'm going to take care of you. A guy's got to make a split decision.
I would like to know this, Joe. Do they say, how do we do this? I mean, what do they say?
Well, my brother Nick told me he thought Bob Conrad had a couple of those in the 60s. He thought that he might have.
There was rumors of it. There was rumors
Yeah,
of it.
they call it experiences in Hollywood. He had experience. That's the word they use. And because my brother's manager was the same manager as John Travolta's manager. They're the same manager. And that guy was, he was gay, but my brother said that when that story came out about John, he told him, you better get married. You better, because he was sold on a sexual appeal. They didn't come out. If you came out later on, you were sold on being straight, that ruined your career. And a lot of guys. You lied. And, the bisexual thing.
It's not a part of their sexuality. It's the fact that they lied to the public.
That's right. And the LB, what do they call it? They don't like it when they come out when they have to come out. You know that. The other side, when you come out, because you're forced to come out because there's a story coming about you, so they come out of the closet. They hate that because they say you didn't come out. You were forced to come out.
Well,
Anthony Perkins.
Tony
Yeah,
Perkins.
he was another one. Yeah, there was another one. Now, maybe John Wayne didn't do it. Who knows? But those guys, Hollywood.
Sure John Wayne didn't. I'm sure John Wayne didn't.
Right. But let's be honest. That gay producers back then, they had all the money. There wasn't many studios. You probably had no choice. If you want to be a movie
You
star,
got a
and
choice. You got a choice. You either live in poverty or you become a whore.
yeah. Now,
It'll be
my
over in a few
understanding,
minutes. We'll have a few drinks and forget about it.
yeah. Now, when Howard Hughes came in the movie business, he took all the girls and he had dated every one of them. So he took them from all those other people, the producers, and they're all banging him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and they didn't fuck with him. He's a billionaire. He had all the money. Did the mob fuck with him in Vegas when he bought those hotels?
No,
No, they didn't go.
no.
Okay, they didn't go
Matter
near
of
him.
fact, they were glad to sell them to him.
Okay,
As a
there you
matter of
go.
fact, he was quoted as saying to Bob Mayhew, because Bob Mayhew actually bought him for him, but he was quoted as saying, "I like this one. Let's get a few more of them." And eventually, what happened was the gaming commission said, "Hey, you got too many licenses out here. You can't. We're not approving any more licenses." And that's when he packed up.
Oh, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah,
Boy, that guy walked in the money. Everything he touched was money. You know.
he was pretty good at it.
Yeah, for sure. You know. Um. So I say to myself, when it comes nowadays, that stuff's not happening anymore. That what you call it?
Who knows what's
That
happening
behavior.
out there?
You know.
That's their own country. That's their own world out there. Different.
Now rappers are all doing it now. You heard about the stories about them, and I was shocked to hear some of the producers of that too. I heard that one black guy, all those guys were. What did they say? That one guy come right out of the bedroom with P Diddy
It
was in
makes
there.
a good story. It makes a good story.
Yeah, yeah.
Social media eats it up, whether it's true or not.
Do you think social media has been good? Do you think social media would survive back in the day when the mob was going strong? Could they talk like
No,
this? No, I didn't
no.
think so. I was going to ask you that. Could we be like, not you and I, but could they make comments about it? I mean, I'm sure they could, but
Well, we roll around in a wheelchair and pull up to the to the Zoom because somebody break our legs.
hey, we get a little text on there. Hey, boys, let's cut the dialogue about you get a little thing on one of your listeners. Hey, it's best you two guys call it a day. Some random ass dude. But yeah, that's we talk about the gay and bisexual. Well, they brought it with mobsters, mob movies. They did. Okay, let's be honest. They did that in Sopranos. They did that. There was gay in Chicago. One of the bosses was bisexual. He had a lover downtown.
There's more than one.
Well, I only knew from one, and the guy's name was Vic, Slick Vic, they called him, and he had an apartment downtown with tons of clothes, and that was the guy's lover because the guy was married with a family. And then he also told me, right from my head, he was an old guy. He said that in the 50s, and I mentioned to you that they went to that part of Chicago where all the guys dressed up as women, and they would have sex with those people, transgenders. Yeah,
Transvestites.
yeah, they would, and for $5 or $10. But I thought, why them? They did it, and one guy thought it was a girl
Man,
the whole
it better
time.
be in a very dark room. It better be black in there.
But are you surprised? Because a lot of those people,
Can you imagine feeling around the dark and say, "What is that?"
yeah. And listen, this is the fact. One guy said the person that he was in a relationship with, he says, I'm a guy. He thought that he didn't believe that that was a guy. He says, I'm a guy. Because you want to screw her, or you want to have sex with her. And he goes, wait a minute, I'm a guy. And he goes, you are? He said, well, can I do it the other way? Yeah. So then he had sex in her, the other hole. Yeah. So what does that tell you? When I heard that story, it was so disturbing that he actually started falling in love with, looking for the same person, like taking him out to dinner, and then it comes to the point of going further than a blowjob. Wait a minute, whoa, that's not happening. And then he was like, "What do you mean?" Like he had a epiphany. I was like, "What is it? Is the guy live?" But they all went there back then. And what does that tell you? It tells you about the animal. I don't know why they had to put that in Sopranos. Well, maybe because there's a lot of that going on in other.
Brought reality to it.
But what happens if they found out?
Our society. That is a part
Would
of
they
our society.
would they get killed back in our day in Chicago if they found out one of the made guys were gay?
The guys I knew didn't get killed.
No.
No.
Yeah. See, that's I'm not shocked, but They didn't talk about it, so there was no platform for it.
No.
Remember, Chicago, there were areas you went. You
There
know,
are certain things you just didn't talk about. You turn your head and look the other way.
I went into a gay joint by accident. I had my Elvis hair and everything, and I realized, oh, this isn't right. I turned around. Somebody yelled out, "We hate Elvis, anyways." I walked in. I looked around. They must have saw me walk in. And I go, oops. As I turned around to leave, some broad yells out, "We hate Elvis, anyways." She saw the black hair and the sideburns. Like, what the fuck? We hate Elvis. I didn't know that that was a place on Irving Park Road or North Ave. I forgot. It was famous. It's been around forever. I was just going to have a drink. I didn't know that was a. I saw girls like it was. I came early. It was like 10:30, 11. It was like those people stay up late. They're partiers. You know, they're vicious.
A couple of cop friends of mine. I had a dozen cops that I used to hang out with. They were good friends. I
Yeah.
mean, these are people I trusted with my life, and they were having a birthday party for the one guy, and Frankie Fatita. And anyway, they get him drunk, and they told me, "Can you get us a transvestite?" And I said, "Where?" And they said, "Off the street." So I'm stopping these transvestites on the street and said, "You want to make a couple, And they said,
Good looking too. I'm
"Will
sure.
they, will they hurt? Will they hurt me? Will they hurt me?" I said, "Nah, you won't get hurt." So he gets all messed up and he goes into the bedroom. He's in there for an hour, 2 hours. And my one buddy, Nick, turns around and says, "Oh my God, get him out of there. Get him out of there. He's drunk. He doesn't know what he's doing. Get the penicillin, get this, get that." He's
Oh
making
my
a
god.
mess of it. And
Oh my god.
no joke, the
Wow.
drag queen came out of the bedroom and collected dollars from one of
Yeah.
the guys and left. Frankie comes out with a
Um,
big smile on his face, and Nick is taking him on the shoulder. He put him on the shoulder. He says, "You better go to the doctor like right away, man. You could have caught it."
oh my god. Who was that actor that punched the transvestite? Remember Hollywood? He got arrested. Remember? Beat him up. They thought it was a girl, and it was the English guy. Remember? Well, he had a good run. Blonde hair guy, and he punched him in the limousine in the car. When he found out it was a guy. Yeah, it was all over the papers. It was all over the papers. Yeah, so I guess you could get tricked very easy. But that's a whole different lifestyle.
This is a story. This is a story I told. It's a bedtime story. Frank Schweiss. I chased these transvestites from down the street from my place. I didn't
They're
want
right
to hang
there.
out for the
I
story.
know.
So they
That was
went
the
down. They
area.
hung out at Frank's, and Frank wasn't home. He comes home, pulls in the driveway, and he tells them to leave. And he's got a guy with him, a driver with him. And Frankie Schweiss was kind of a tough guy, but he got the shit kicked out by these transvestites, man. I mean,
No way.
oh yeah. And then worse than that, one guy ran for help and he got a baseball bat from the electric door in the garage opened up, and he grabbed the
Oh my
baseball
god.
bat and he's beating the pimp, and he's beating him and beating him. Cop pulls up, see him beating him. Who gets arrested? Frank Schweiss gets arrested.
Oh my god. Oh my
And
god.
this guy got arrested. I
Nick.
told that story so many times. I've never told you.
Oh my god. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Really, I didn't.
I did that on a bedtime story in 2016, man.
Wow, Nick. What? It's that's a good bedtime story. I never got that one. I used to look for the bedtime stories because like you talked about before. I never heard that before. A guy sitting down on his little couch. Yeah, and you're tired. It's at night, right? For the most part, right? Night was it 9 o'clock? When did you have those bedtime stories? Was it late in the day?
It was
Usually.
different whenever I felt like it. I would sit
Oh,
down when a story came to my mind. I just put it out there because I wanted. It was better than going to book signings. It really was.
well, here Timothy's got a good question. Okay, the transvestites now are different. We don't call them transgenders, right? Is that basically what they are now?
I
Red.
don't know really what they are because I'm not politically correct, and I don't think I ever will be.
They're called transgenders now. Transgender. They're guys that you know. And you don't have to totally get the operation. You don't have to like go the whole way. It's a you feeling. A transvestite is a guy feeling as a girl, right? That's basically what it is. I I feel.
Matt feels that gay people think that other people should care
Care
more about
about
their
the
sexuality than they actually do. If you don't bother me, I won't bother you. I
right,
could care
right.
less. I can't
That's
care
true.
less. about what you do. That's the way it should be. Just, turn your head and look the other way. You don't have to look at it.
Well, Red, what would you do? I think I talked to you. You met a girl, okay? Even at your age now, all right? Let's say she's 65. Maybe it's too young for you. All right, let's just
No,
say
that's
this.
too old for me.
Okay, listen to me. You're a gentleman. This goes for all your listeners. I've asked this question before. You met somebody, and you have a nice relationship with them, okay? And it's going good, and you fall in love and whatever. And about 8 months in the relationship, the person says to you, "Hey, Red, by the way, years ago, I was a man, and I changed to a woman." Now, you had no idea. She had the sex change and everything. I just want to be honest with you because I know we're falling in love now. And what did that do to you? Now, okay, looks nothing like a okay. And then you say, well, when did you have the sex change? Was it at 13? Was it 14? Was it? Well, I had it in my 30s. Okay, and you look at the person and you have no, except you see the Adam's apple. You did see something. You can tell by the Adam's apple, right? What do you do at that point? That's a good question. Now, I've asked this to many people, and it runs about 70 would say call it a day, and 30% would probably just stay as it is, depending on when was it done and if I don't know. That's a good question. It looks like a woman.
After
There's
a
no
different era, it wouldn't work that way. And as
not.
Timothy Foster says, if you're born a man or a woman, you should stay that way. I agree.
Well, that's true. And why are they? And that's a good question. Why are they so worried about how we feel about them? They're more scared about
They
how we
are.
feel about them. Why?
They are. They want to be
Well,
accepted. Everybody wants to be accepted.
that's true. Do you think they should be telling young children if they have questions?
No,
No. Great.
no,
No, that's what I say. No.
I don't believe they should. Maybe in I think it's a job for parents, but maybe in high school or something like that, in gym class or whatever. That's what we had. We had sex ed, and it worked out fine.
Do you know what the ratio is? The percentage of people regret it that had it. I read this. They took a survey of people that had the sex change. What do you think? Let's say there's 1,000 of people. You know what the percentage of regret they had it? 30%. 30% say they shouldn't have done it. There you go. And I was shocked that the number was that high.
So they did it too young,
They
definitely.
did probably. Yeah, that sounds like it. You don't know. Listen, I know kids that were young boys played with dolls. Does it mean that they're feminine? Or the kid didn't want to play sports. They were soft. Does that mean they're gay or they want to be a woman? No. But if you watching a child develop and they're like that, you may try to push them in that by asking questions and get them evaluated. Oh, they want to be a girl. Who knows? They like pink or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe they need a shrink. But
Well,
even if a child identifies as being more feminine
yeah,
or
that's
being
feminine.
around girls,
Right.
it's just like, what is it going to be when that child is not a child anymore? When the child gets ready to go into the military or something like that, or 21, 22, 23.
Right. Yeah.
And if they did
And
do
watching,
something to themselves
yeah.
biologically, they're going to be sorry.
Yeah, I just think that now there's so much paperwork and there's so much information on it, and they're getting access to the internet early, right? Just like porn is ruining sexuality to people, right? You can
I
listen.
never knew that. In my younger years, I didn't even think of that.
You
It
got to
never
go to a
bothered
place like yours. You got to go to yours places to get to get that stuff. Okay, my porn was Playboy, a magazine as a child.
90% of the 90% of the young men in the United States collected Playboys
Well, yeah, I had the
or
same
used
2 pages.
Playboys.
Hey, Red, I couldn't even open that thing after a while. It was stuck. The book, it was stuck. It was like bricks. Hey, I remember my mother threw. I had like 4 of the same ones. It got to the point, like an old girlfriend. I threw those. They were like rocks when I got done. My mother threw them out. What are these things doing? These in your closet? I said, where did you get these? Right? I go, listen. But you had to go to they had movie theaters, porn. You go there,
Kissy
or
Cat says, now Kissy Cat's a woman,
I love
and
that name
she
too.
has a channel, and it's a good channel about food. But she
Sure.
said she had more Hot Wheels cars. It didn't matter because she was just a little girl.
Yeah, see, and you can like that. You could be a little person or
Yeah,
whatever and play. You know, what about when you play doctor? How about when kids are 9, 10, and you have your neighbor kid and you like, that little playful stuff like that what goes on. Either
curiosity, whatever.
what do you call them? Sexual deviants? That's what they're saying. Why? But I'm
Deviant.
saying,
I don't know
but
what
I'm
the
saying, when you start evaluating that, well, that's not. You might say, well, why is that the kid's always trying to pull the girl's dress down or something? What is that? Why does he do that? It could be just play, like you say,
curious.
curiosity.
He's curious.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a GI Joe doll. It's the only thing I had. The funny thing I had it for 4 or 5 years. That poor thing.
I didn't
You
have
know
any
what?
dolls. We didn't have
You
any
know.
dolls. You know what I had? I had a baseball mitt, and a baseball, and a bat, and that was it. That was my toys.
Yeah.
Or
I had a.
maybe wait a second. I made a few model airplanes. Where I made model airplanes with glue
Yeah.
and everything, put them together and hang them up, and that was it when I was a kid.
I had a. I'm not going to mention his name because he had a big job with one of the franchise. He's retired now. He was a big job in a big franchise here in Chicago. He retired when he was about 12 years old. He was blood behind me, and he had his bathroom. He cut a hole in the bathroom, right in the where the bath in the closet, and he put a hole and watch women come in, to see him, right?
He's a
And
voyeur.
right, well, his mother's friend came over and she saw like something like a little hole, and she caught him. She went outside and opened the closet door. There he was looking. He got in trouble, but he's a voyeur. You're right. He had a little hole, and he's looking to see what you can see. You know, so that kind of stuff. There was no internet to go see. You know,
No.
anything, and you had behavior like that. Like the magazines. It was to buy one in a store was hard to get. The
Well,
High
this is the
Society came
crowd.
out.
This is the toys that they had. Gabby said he had baseball cards, wrestling figures, Hot
Yeah,
Wheels. Um,
that's that's it. That's it.
Christopher
Slinky.
says Matchbox cars, Lincoln Logs, Legos.
Yeah, yeah, that was it. We
John
had
Benton
Monopoly.
says I used to build model railroads.
Yeah, it was
You
sort of
guys are
boring,
all
huh?
pretty average. I mean, that's about the average of what used to be.
And what is it now?
I don't. I
Internet.
don't call. I don't call anything normal. I don't know what normal is. Normal is what somebody else tells you. Well, this is normal.
But
I don't
Red,
use the word normal. I use the word
do you
average.
think do you think porn has ruined the availability of porn? Like it ruined the sales of movies. Like people that Pornhub and all that. You go on there and there's thousands, millions of different videos and all beautiful girls from all walks of life and all different
Jim Hunt,
sexual
you
needs.
are exactly right. How the hell did we get onto this subject?
I don't know. Let's see what happens. It goes to that. Well, we got on it because in the organized crime there was gay guys, but bisexual guys. And I asked Red, "Is that common?" Red said, "Yeah, it was in New York. They showed it in movies. But the guy got killed. So it goes
Well,
to
I
show you,
believe that movies just imitate life.
yeah. No, you can be a wise guy and be bisexual, I guess. Obviously, because what sexuality has nothing to do with who you are, supposedly. They don't. I mean, as far as they're good people, they have the best credit. They tip the best. A lot of them do. So there's some similar characteristics with them. They all have
Come
good
on,
credit.
Tony was a
You
big
know.
tipper.
Well, yeah, right, right. And it's I don't know. But I think with young people nowadays, with young people
Joey
nowadays,
Lombardo. Joey Lombardo was a very big tipper.
what was it? Yeah. Well, those guys had the choker on them like this. You know.
All the
You know. I basically, I would eat at their restaurant, so I spent money. I didn't want them to buy me. They had Rockies. Remember Rockies on North Avenue? It was
time.
Lombardo's brother's place. Remember that? Not far from Hoagie's, right? And you had Genati's, you had Mio's, you had Capri. So most of them, wonder why they had restaurants, a lot of them. Hot dog
Roy
stands.
Munson wants to know, Joe, will you finish up with a small Elvis?
Yes. I was just giving Red even complimented me before I was practicing my Elvis before we went on.
Yes.
And throw me a ballad. Let's see what ballad do you like to hear? Like there's I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, Always in My Mind, Love Me Tender. Um, I was the one. I was the one who taught her to love. I was the one. Now you. Okay, I guess I can blow it out. How about when I walk through that door. Oh, baby, you'll be evil light. You're gonna make me sore. You don't treat me right.
Okay.
And then,
Let's let this go now. We're at an
okay.
hour and 15 minutes.
I'll leave with an Elvis song. You can cut me off. You're so young and beautiful, and I love you so. Your lips so red, eyes that shine, and the stars that glow. There you go. Peace out.
Okay,
Red,
guy.
thank
God
you.
bless you.
See you Monday. Great
Yes,
show,
sir.
Red. You're my
Already
idol.
got a thumbnail up for Monday.
You're my idol, Red. When I come back in my next life, I'll come back as you.
The combination of the videotapes and Wemette's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And